We've got flags and banners, and if you mind your manners, we might even get to standards and what they represent. So just take my voice's hand and we'll both try to understand how this vexilla logic podcast could be flagged for content. Flagged for content.
What's up, Vexheads, and welcome to a little bit of a different show today. You know him from Flags in 50. You could know him from Flags in 60, or you could come up with a better name all your own. It's Tareth Peacock!
Howdy, 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 howdy.
Howdy, howdy. What's up, Tareth?
Oh, everything's just marvellous at the moment, all doing well, keeping busy. In the flag lair at the moment, so surrounded by a monstrous number of different flags. So yeah, life is good, doing all right, thanks.
Yeah, it's hard to be sad when you're surrounded by that many flags, I tend to find.
Exactly. I mean, hey, that's what we're here for. But yes, so
especially
but
this glorious one.
Well, yeah, but you have lots of little smaller ones.
Yeah, true. But anyway, Tareth, we don't have time for all these pleasantries today. We've got to get into it. We got to crack on, as you Brits like to say. We're here for a special reason today, a little bit of a different reason than we're normally here. And I don't know. Would you like to explain what that could be?
Yes, let's just cut to the chase. I'm here for a massive plug of my channel. Forget this whole flag for content nonsense. We're here purely about Flag 50, Flags in 50. Hi, that's me. But yes, September is always a special month for the channel. And each and every year I like to do something a little bit special. The first year was, well, introduce the world to me, of course. The second year is when I had a competition for trying to boost the subscribers. So if you subscribed, then we gave a flag away. Last year, I tried to do as many consecutive days as possible with producing a video. That was quite tough. And this year, taking it as a slightly different, I thought having a reflection of the channel name, Flags in 50, of whether it's still relevant to what I do and produce at the moment. And I thought I'd throw it open to the nation, nay, the globe, and see what their thoughts are. So my thinking is thusly, because that's a word not used enough in present day, is that originally Flags in 50 Seconds was the first name because I was trying to do a whole flag episode in roughly 50 seconds. That's where we were going with that. And then after a while, when I started venturing to slightly bigger, longer episodes, I dropped the whole seconds piece because it didn't quite fit. And that's when I came up with things like Flags in 50 Places and Flags in 50 Cities and all that other stuff that had a connotation of Flags in 50. And I've been pondering over the past probably 12 months now of whether the Flags in 50 name is still relevant or not. There is part of me thinking, am I actually spending too much time and effort thinking about this and I shouldn't worry about it at all? But then I thought, throw it open to the viewers and see what they think. So yes, I've launched a competition, which is thusly, it's twice now, which is basically asking people to either vote for keeping the name, and therefore if I get enough votes for that, then I'll just stick with it, run with it and carry on. It's not a problem. Or if people have bigger, better, more wonderful ideas of what I should rename the channel, well then to submit that. And I've asked people to vote on both. So if I get more people stating no, keep the name, then I can still draw a name out of the hat and they can win some lovely Vexy prizes of flags and stuff. And also, indeed, if I get enough people with alternative names, I can then choose the best one. And that person who's come up with the right name will choose, will obviously get some special prizes as well. So that's where I'm coming at overall. And that's why I've infiltrated your channel for this episode, just to plug that anymore. So, yeah, either vote one way or the other and get your thinking caps on if you want to possibly suggest a different alternative name than Flags in 50. That's it in a nutshell initially.
Yeah, no, that was the gist of it. That's also the longest that I've ever not talked on this podcast, I think. So congratulations on that. Without interrupting or anything. Yeah, listeners will mark that down as a historic day. But okay, yeah, no, that makes total sense. I definitely get the like rebranding effort. Like, I did not know exactly what this show was going to be when I started it. I was like, well, flagged for content. Well, I'll be like the bad boy of flag podcasting, and like we'll say swears where no one else does, and like all this stuff. And then I started getting like actual like serious guests on. I was like, oh, I have to talk to these people like an adult, with limited swears, but a different ball game. So I definitely understand, changing the brand at a certain point, or at least like kind of retooling it in a slight way. Anyway, so so briefly, anyway, take us through. So Flags in 50 started as Flags in 50 seconds, like you said, right? You were doing flag videos and just summing them up in 50 seconds. I just for my own sake, I'm curious why 50 seconds and not 60.
Well, because of the letter F. No reason. For flags. For 50.
Okay. Flags in 50.
That was it. So that's as scientific as it gets.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Kevin from Flag Monkey does his Flag Monkey Minute, which he did state in an earlier episode is possibly a little bit of a Mickey or a pull take from what I do, which is fine, which is great. But yeah, it literally was me standing in front of a wall with a flag hung behind me, and I would just literally talk at the camera for 50 odd seconds as quickly as possible to get in as many facts, figures and details in about the flag that was sat behind me. And that was it. There was no other real editing apart from cutting the beginning and the end off to make it as close to 50 seconds as possible. I've evolved a little bit since then, I think.
Yeah. So just like one take, like minimal editing, minimal most things, I guess, really.
That was the idea. Yes. Yeah. And that
reminds me of how I started. I was like, I don't know how to edit any of this.
That's good. That's it. It was the easiest option I could get. And then, then we moved from that property, so I didn't have a wall to hang the flags on that I used to have. So I bought myself a green screen instead, which is sat in a box behind me at the moment, and moved on to doing that. And obviously that then just opened up to, oh, hang on a minute. I can be anywhere. I can do anything. I can put all sorts of stuff in front of it, and then it just evolved. And well, if you go to Flags the YouTube channel, then you can see what the results are like. Anyway, sorry.
Right. No. Perfect. That's what I was going to kind of ask you and like move on to is, all right. So you started off doing that, as most of us did, started off like a little bit low rent, a little bit, not knowing what we wanted to do, but not exactly knowing how to do it. And obviously you've moved way past that.
Yeah. But shall I tell you why I started that out is because originally when I started looking for videos on YouTube about flags, when I was literally going, right, if I want to know about the flag of wherever it is, Belgium, for example, and I'd look for it on YouTube, and all I found was flag animations. There was very few, if anything at all, that were actually, these are details about the Belgian flag and all the other good stuff about it. So I was going, well, all right, I can sit and read Wikipedia and all these other places, but that's not as fun as watching a video. So I thought, well, if there isn't one there might be a bit of a gap in the market on that, and that's how it really kicked off.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. I mean, yeah, to again draw parallels, like how I started was like, hey, I know about cool flags and I have cool friends. Maybe I can just talk to my cool friends about cool flags and we can just go from there, kind of thing.
Yeah. You see that, and going back to the names and the titles, I think your channel has a brilliantly perfect title, because it's, to me, it's obviously you know about it. It covers two different mediums. Not only is it's a podcast about flags and but obviously, as you say,
but
you
also
can get
about
away with
swearing.
swearing on it because the clue's in the name, which I think is a fantastic title. So I do look at yours and go, oh, if only I could come up with something as good as what Andy has, I'd be a happy man.
Yeah, we'll have to both thank the other person that came up with this title for me. Because I outsourced mine, but like no, to exactly what you're saying, I outsourced mine much like you're doing now. I was part of a Discord group, and in my case anyway, that's specifically their specific purpose was to rename things or name things in the first place in this case.
Right.
And I reached out and I said, hey, this is basically what the show's about. This is what I'm gonna what I plan to do anyway. What would you name it? And yeah, I got back the perfect answer, and I've shouted them out plenty. I forget their names, so but anyway, we'll get down to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget who it was. Oh, it was Loki Hates You, but I think that's on Twitter, which I don't know if they're still on Twitter because Twitter. Yeah. Anyway,
X
doesn't matter. I'll probably cut all that. But the point of it is the same, is that yeah, it's good to like crowdsource these names, especially in your case where you have kind of an established brand, or you had an established thing and then you kind of like pivoted, went a different direction, and now you're doing different things, and people who are familiar enough with what you're doing will probably have some ideas churning in the old brain hopper up there. So
yes, well that's the plan, and it'd be interesting to see what I get back. And I mean, I've opened this up a few weeks back, so I've had feedback from both parties of yes, here's some ideas for new names, and also people going, no, we really like the flags
labors and the Tories.
Keep it, yeah, and you know, it's that's what we know you as, and I must admit, I do look at wider afield and other channels as well, and go, well, actually, that channel name doesn't really say much about what the channel is. I mean, let's take probably the biggest YouTuber there is, Mr. Beast, for example. I mean,
yeah, I refuse to learn who that is.
Okay. Well, in a nutshell, the name doesn't really reflect what the channel does and who he is and what he gets on about. There's no link at all between the two. So there is part of me thinking,
yeah,
am I just overthinking this? Or should I just, or should I just go for it and go, right? And in the video that I've done to kickstart the competition, I do pull out a couple of big companies that have changed their name. And I've forgotten what both of them are, but it's Google.
It's
and,
all right. I'll link it.
Yeah,
here.
But Google and Starbucks I think Starbucks was originally called Coffee House, which I think is quite a good name, to be fair, but they changed it. No, Cargo House or something. Oh, I can't remember.
It does say what it does.
Yeah, but and Google was something completely different. So I'm thinking, well, you know, not that I'm in the same league as those two yet, but you know,
I don't know.
So if other companies can do
Not
it,
yet.
then why can't I do? Yeah. So anyway, so that's why I'm oh gosh, I constantly think about this all the time, and I'm going, I probably spend way too much time just thinking about this for no real reason at all.
No, yeah, you're falling into. It's because you're talking to me that you're thinking too much about it, because that's my specialty. But so like, all right, so we know what you have done, the flags in 50, like how you started. Like what's like the brand now? Like if you were to sum up what you do on your channel for, like, I assume most of our viewers and listeners have seen your channel, but in case they haven't, how would you sum up in like, 50 words or less, like what you do? Yeah, 50 exactly words or less. What you do on your channel. Didn't do that on purpose, but I'm going to pretend that I did.
That's very good. So the premise that I've always tried to do is to cover the subject of a flag or flags in as shorter time as possible, while being informative and entertaining, and if I can, throw the odd comedic piece in there where it's relevant. And that's it, really. And that's what I try and achieve at the end of it. More than anything, it keeps me entertained and makes me want to learn more about flags as I go along. Because, you know, at the end of the day, probably like you, this is my hobby. And why would I not want to learn more about my hobby? And I can package it all up in a video and talk about my hobby at the end of the day, which I thoroughly enjoy. So it's, which is why I think, as I said earlier, I'd probably just go over the top in thinking too minor detail on this. But yeah, the premise is informative yet fun videos.
Yeah, it's just I mean, and like a lot of what you do is traveling to different places and checking out flags there. I wonder if we could do something with the traveling aspect, but they're not all traveling, so I don't know if we want to do that or.
No. You see,
I don't know.
I need to try and keep it quite vague. And I know there's a few other flag channels out there, and obviously not yours, and you know, Flag Session being another one, but there are others. There's a guy who doesn't upload anymore, Vexillology Hub, for example, which was
we'll just take his name if he doesn't upload anymore.
Well, you see, and I've written it up here. So that's one of the things I didn't want to do was take another channel's name, because I didn't want it getting mixed up. That's the thing. Otherwise, originally I was thinking, Vexillology Hub. Can't think why you would choose hub as a particular word
honestly,
on a website.
Honestly, can I say, like, Vexillology is not going to get you nearly as many hits as flag anything is. So I think we do need to stick to the word flag or flags or whatever, like, in it. Like, honestly, like, algorithm-wise, I think that's a winning proposition. Yes.
You're right. I mean, yeah, there's... I think there was another one called a Vexillology Guy as well, and you're right. I think the people outside this realm are not going to know what that word is. It's not a thing.
Right? Yeah, people who already know us, who already know you, who know me, who know Flag Session, whatever, who know the hobby like writ large, are gonna they might search for Vexillology, but casual, like what I like to call them, like. Well, I need to come up with a better, a term, but basically Vex heads who don't know their Vex heads yet are not really going to be searching for Vexillology. They might search for flags. They might search for geography. They might search, these kind of related terms, but Vexillology is not a term that I think is going to get us very far. So I think, my opinion, I think we need to stick with flag or flags in the name. That's just me though.
No, it makes it makes sense, and I have a tendency to agree with where you're coming from on that one. Definitely, yeah.
That's it. Have you had any ideas of your own, or any good fan submitted ideas yet that you want to get out there? Or are they secret? Or
so I've had a few people reach out with alternative names, which I'll keep in the back pocket at the moment. Because they are quite good, and there is a mixture of flags and Vexillology, Vexy in there as well. So it's a ballpark that's coming in at present. But you see, when I've sat and thought about this before, and I've tried to come up with it, they're either too cheesy or just too rubbish. There was Mr. P's flags, and I'm thinking, well, hold on a minute.
Oh, I never let that stop me.
I was just thinking.
Sorry,
but then it's about
we're on
my
a delay
flag,
for the listeners. It's
funny. So I just thought, and then I thought, turning around, go flags with Mr. P, and I was thinking, oh gosh, it's just my imagination on this one is really not, is not. And Flag Hub was another.
And
one
I know you have a better imagination than that, because you and I have gone back and forth thinking of Bond movie names that have flag related things in the title. I know you have an imagination on you. I mean, anyone who's seen your videos knows you have an imagination on you. The friggin' one where you go the dead drop, spy dropping it under the bench thing. Yeah. You can do better than flags with Mr. P or whatever.
Yes. Maybe my creative ideas are more with videos as opposed to titles, because trying to come up.
Could be.
I think it is. I mean, to come up with alternative openings to what is basically an unboxing video.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, trust me. Yeah.
I don't know where that
I'm sitting on like 4. Yeah. One of them is from you. I was seriously considering doing doing the other side of that dead drop, like just like filming me going and dropping something under a bench, and then doing the rest of it. But anyway, that's for the hardcores, I think. But
yeah, it would be.
Yeah. So I don't personally. I tried all week to think of good ideas for the name, and I thought of so many good ones that I didn't write down.
Right.
That said, I did come up with, well, really, I really like, there's only kind of one of these that I even want to read, like on air.
I'm intrigued now.
And it's all right. So this would be, and this is not me taking the piss or like being funny or whatever. This is like a serious suggestion, which is unlike me. Well, I only say that because like it's not what people expect of me. But this would be a serious one if you wanted to kind of keep the gist of what you're doing, but kind of like drop the number, like the 50, whatever, keep it flag related, keep the word flags in the title, etc.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing that I could think of was flags on the fly.
Okay.
Because I think on the fly is kind of a almost like slang for like it's very casual. It's not haphazard, like it's not like, you know, just it's not unresearched, but it is like brief.
Yes.
It has the word fly in it, on the fly, you know, it's obviously got that
meaning. Yeah.
And it's got flags in the title.
But
so I was thinking of it in basically a kind of like parallel almost way to flags in 50. Flags on the fly has the same, at least kind of like feeling to me, but drops the unnecessary number, adds a flag pun, which you know I'm always in favor of, and and I think it keeps the gist of like, all right, let's keep things moving, but let's learn about this flag kind of thing.
No, yes, I quite like that one actually. Yeah, because the you're right, because the point of my channel is as you know, I don't take things too seriously either. And I try to say that in the videos as well. So yeah, it sort of would be up there that it's I'm not taking it too seriously, and on the fly is I get where you're coming from. Like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll think of other ones, but that was like the one that like stuck with me all week, because I've been thinking of ones all week, forgetting to write them down. Although, to be fair, the ones that I forgot to write down were all very, very like thoroughly stupid. Very just like real dumb things that nobody would name a channel. Funny? Maybe only to me, which a lot of my jokes are. So this was kind of like the only one that I actually landed on that I felt like even like worth mentioning. The only other things that I could think of were like, you know, plays on like hoisted right. By your own peacock isn't anything. That's nothing.
It's an intriguing one.
It starts like petard, but it definitely doesn't end like petard.
I mean, I must admit,
cock and tard are two different words.
Yes.
Nobody put that out.
The cockade as well as the plume of feathers, isn't it? But I don't know where I'm going with that one. There are a lot of flag-related words when it comes to official words, you know, like flies and cantons and then all the bits about the, I don't know, it goes with the flagpole and all. There's loads in there.
Right. I feel like I've used up all of my good ideas on my own show, like how I eventually, you know, like 20 plus episodes in, finally got the idea to, you know, let people know what they could expect on the show. And I was like, I'll call this what's on the flagpole, because like it seemed obvious. It seems like, hey, these are the things on the flagpole, and also it's like barely, it's, I don't even think that counts as a pun, but it's sort of in that realm.
It worked.
Yeah, I think I think I've used most of my good ones on terrible stuff for my own show, but I'm trying to think of more. And anyway, I guess like the gist of this is you got to get people to think of some.
Yes, yeah, and I appreciate it, you giving some thought, which is great, and it'd be I'm obviously still open to other people coming up with some other thoughts and suggestions, and as I say, and even keeping the name. So I've got a few links which I'll send over, so you can put it in the description below. The links of how to get involved, of course, if that's what your viewer or listener wants to do, which would be great. And as I say, there will be prizes at the end of it for whoever and however I come to a conclusion on this one. But there are prizes, and they will be given. But closing date is the 15th of September, 2023, and the winner and the result will also be revealed on the 29th of September, which is the channel's actual 3rd birthday. So that's me celebrating that with balloons and poppers. So yes, that's the timetable we've got.
All right, yeah, exciting stuff. I can't wait to see like what it ends up being, even if it ends up staying the same.
Yes, I could go through all this.
Actually, I can wait to see that.
So, but in the back of my head, I've got, even if you stick with flags in 50, if that's what a majority comes out with, then I can still link it to a flag story of New Zealand's great 2016 flag referendum, where they spent so much money, time and effort to stick with the flag that they've already had. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. There's always a parallel there. All right, well. Well, Tareth, yeah, thanks so much for coming on and, getting the word out. Like, I love getting the word out about your show. You were one of the first people that I connected with when I got into this flag world, and one of the most consequential, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, anyway, if you haven't seen Tareth's channel, for right now, it is called Flags in 50. You can search for it on YouTube. You can find him on Instagram. Where else can they find you?
I do. That's on Facebook, of course.
Okay, right. There is a Facebook group as well.
Yes.
So yeah, find what is for now called Flags in 50 in all those places. Let him know what you think the new title should be, given everything we've said here, everything he does on his channel, all that. Wrap that in. Try and make it a pun, for me, for my sake. But if not, whatever. Yeah, we will get the results on, what'd you say, September 29th?
9th, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, can't wait to see what that's going to be. And yeah, Tareth, thanks for coming here to ask the question.
Well, thanks very much for inviting me again. It's a pleasure, and I'm sure I'll come back when it's all in with a result. But thanks for having me anyway. That's me inviting myself. That's terribly rude, Tareth. Sorry.
No, it's totally fine. You are, as a result of that, you are banned until you come up with a new name. But, that should be, after the 29th, like, we're good again. We're friends again. I'll unblock you, all that stuff. No, everybody go follow Tareth. You guys know where to follow us. I'm not even going to mention it. All right, I'm going to mention it. It's flagged for content everywhere. And I think that is it. Tareth, I think this might be the only show that I do know how to end. And it is just by saying, go vote on Flags in 50 and continue following us both. And I said I remembered. I don't. Anyway, bye.
Bye.
Flagged for Content is a Flags for Good podcast. Go to flagsforgood.com for more info.